Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're back with another BKFC Reddit Ask Me Anything. We're joined by Josh the Hammer Burns. How you doing, sir?
Doing well.
So, one of the people right away asked the question: have you ever thought about being Josh Third Degree Burns? I mean, you got the hammer, and I like that, but Third Degree Burns has kind of got a ring to it too.
Yeah, no, I when I first started fighting, I wanted to be the Sandman because
Oh,
I knock people out,
sure.
and Coleman was the one that blessed me with the name to allow me to utilize the name the Hammer. And to be honest with you, he was one of it's like my mentor. So when he gave me that blessing, it was off and running with it.
I would just done a interview with Chris Lytle not too long ago, and I was telling him it's weird that I used to play as a bunch of these guys on video games, and now I'm interviewing them, and it's so weird. And you've been in the fight game for a long time, like you've got to experience like so many cool fights. What's your favorite fight that you've actually attended? Do you have one?
Uh, Probably when Eric Prindle fought. Man, I can never remember the guy's name. He's a big old boy. It was for the Bellator heavyweight tournament.
Okay.
It was right before my fight with Thiago Santos, and he fought this big guy from Kentucky who was a big, scary knockout artist. And Eric caught him with a check hook early in the first round, and he just flatlined boop, right on his face, and nobody expected. And Eric's my brother, I love Eric, and I know how hard he hits, but you just didn't expect it. And
Right.
it was a wild. Everybody, it wasn't even people got excited. People were more like, oh, like did that really just happen? So yeah, it was pretty. That's one of the wild things that I was able to witness.
Okay, you've been away for a while. Like you and I talked, you were wanting to keep active, so that's why you kind of stepped away from BKFC. But now you're back. What is your plans with BKFC? Are you chasing the belt? Are you doing one fight at a time? Like, what do you see yourself doing?
Well, obviously, I'd like the trajectory to get to the belt because obviously I fought Mick Terrell in England, 5 6 years ago for the title there. A little bit of, Mick outstruck me, but I
Sure.
by far was more aggressive, more physical, stronger, and I believe the actual ring and the style format for BKFC favors me, not him.
Okay.
And because in England it's more Victorian, like stand up, like you're not allowed to grab and all that stuff. So man, I love Mick. Mick's my boy, but
Okay.
that would be my direction. I would definitely want that.
Okay. What it seems like you and Shewmaker have some bad blood. Can you tell us like where that came from? Is there still that bad blood even after you had that crazy knockout of him? Like,
Yeah, we just had it's just it happens. We I believe we both line up on the same side of life.
okay.
It just the easiest way to say it politically, whatever you want to say. Like we're both country boys, and somehow, somewhere along the line, the lines got crossed, and neither one of us took the time to talk to one another. We just took it and ran with it, and you know, it just turned into bad blood. I think there's more respect there now because you know the reality is we're both tough guys. We're both
Sure.
solid fighters, and anything can happen in a fight. And I think if anything, it'd be more on his end where he was like, "Oh, okay, I got back it down a little bit. Still want to kill me, want to hit me in the face, and do what he's got to do." But yeah, pretty much that's. I can't pinpoint it to an exact incident that happened. I just know that at some point, sometime, they rubbed me wrong, I rubbed them wrong, and it took a life of its own.
Okay, so you had that highlight reel knockout. Like, I mean, what was going through your mind? You were so amped up, but I mean, like, did you know right off the bat, like, okay, I'm going to flatten him? Like, was that your game plan? Basically, you knew that you wanted to jump on him right away, or is just you caught him quick and you capitalized?
Yeah, no, I was pretty aggressive just because I don't like him. I didn't like him, and I wanted to be aggressive. He had never been knocked out before, so realistically, knockout probably wasn't the first thing in my mind. It was more or less touch him and let's see, because I don't care how tough you are, you know, you don't know until you touch someone. So I just wanted to touch him. I wanted to get a hold of him, see how he responded, and I threw two punches, a jab that didn't hit. It was just in the beard, and obviously the little shovel hook that I threw and hit him right on the right spot because he saw like I kind of stuttered over the top of him because I wanted to hit him with the two that was loaded because
Could you?
this was coming, and I was like stuttering, and he literally just like a tree, like and I wasn't able to hit him. So it was it's great. It's a great feeling to win, but it was also that feeling like God, I wanted to hit him. And I think that's why the rematch. A lot of people, it makes no sense. It happened. You knocked him out so fast. It's like, yeah. Well, that also means that this could be a completely different fight too. And we both want to crack the shit out of each other. So that's kind of the goal. Go in there and be able to apply pressure and put some damage on them.
Okay, so you have the biker look. Do you ride bikes at all? I mean, Sturgis is going to be a crazy card. You have the look of somebody who belongs on that card. Is that a lifestyle that you live also, or
Well, I used to ride bikes when I was a kid, much younger. I don't do it anymore. I got a lot of kids, so I got responsibilities, and for me, it's probably an unnecessary risk that I take besides
sure?
what I do fighting. So I, I, I mean, I guess I'm more of a country boy. I live kind of in the country, and that's the kind of life I do. So I don't know if that fits in with Sturgis or not, but I'm definitely, I guess I don't roll with biker guys and stuff like that, but I'm sure I have the look, and I get along with everybody. So I think it'll be a good fit.
So you mentioned country boy. Do you currently like I live in the woods. Do you live on a farm or in the woods, or like are you in the city? Like what do you do?
So yeah, so I grew up on a farm. I grew
Okay.
up on a farm in Ohio, and now I live on the outskirts of Detroit. I live in a place called New Boston. I live on dirt roads near the I got a fire department like down the street from me, but we're in dirt roads, small little town, and it's not being political or anything, but it's kind of like what we call Trump country. It's
Okay.
definitely a right winged like side of town, and they don't
Sure.
put up with no BS, and it's just good old boys, a bunch of good old boys, and that's kind of my thing. I kind of dig it.
So we did hear Michigan kind of legalize BKFC, and it's going to be headed to Detroit at some point. Is that a card that you clearly want to be on too, or
Yeah, no, absolutely. If they bring it to Michigan, and I'd absolutely love to be on that, possibly headline it. I'm sure I could outsell anybody that BKFC has, even Mike Perry. I'd outsell, like I'm telling you, I'd outsell people in Michigan. So, because I got my fans from Ohio as well, so
sure?
we'd probably pack that place. But it'd be awesome. I'd love to introduce the sport to the state and bring it home to Michigan. It'd be great.
Okay, so you mentioned that you were the Hammer because Mark Coleman gave you the name. Mark sent me a quote, and I want to read it to you. And let me look at it. So I'm going to look it away from you for a second. He said, "I love the guy when he prepares properly. He's a very dangerous man. It's a highlight to watch him. I look forward to being in his next in his corner for the next fight, and I will have him ready. It's going to be fun."
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing is probably the last 2 years got a little sidetracked just because all my issues outside, personal issues outside, and I probably wasn't as focused as I should have been. And this is the first time everything's done. We're clear. My mind's clear. I went out here, moved out to Colorado for the last 5 weeks of camp to train with Team Genesis and Chris Camozzi and Coach Jake. And I just feel amazing, outstanding out here. And you're going to actually get to see the Josh Burns that started bare knuckle. You got to remember, I've got more fights than anybody in America, any American fighter. So I started, 5 years before it was even legal in the United States. So
Right.
you're gonna see that version of Josh Burns back here for this fight, which I'm excited to show.
Okay, so that leads me into two questions. So you mentioned fighting over across the pond. What did you like about fighting over there? What do you not like about fighting over there? And what do you prefer? You fought for a couple of different bare knuckle organizations. Like, is there BKFC the best, or like, is there something BKFC should learn from these other companies?
Yeah. So I mean, as far as UK goes, I enjoyed it because it was my first taste of what bare knuckle was,
Okay,
and it's more traditional over there. So like I said, no grappling, no dirty boxing. It's proper fighting, as they would say. Um, I dislike the European style where they make you weigh in basically 3 hours before the show starts. That's
okay,
that's how they do it. That's just dumb in my opinion. Um, I didn't care for the Victorian style where you couldn't grab, you couldn't do things of that nature. So, and as far as the states, yeah, I am also the only fighter in bare knuckle history to this point that's fought for all three banners, all three promotions individually, and was contract multi fight deals for all three promotions. So I can say the United States, BKFC and BYB, they both treat you outstanding. I love Mike Vasquez; he's a great guy. Same with Dave, love Dave, great guy. They both treat you, in my opinion, they both are straight shooters, and they've always done me right. So it's different. Everything's got a little different. So BYB's got that little triangle ring, and it's complete different atmosphere, different approach, and the 3 minute rounds completely changed the outlook of bare knuckle. Bare
sure,
knuckle is a high intensity sport. That's the way I came into it was quick. 2 minute rounds, get in there. It's a sprint. Get in there, 2 by 1. But you got to get in. And none of my fights went over 3 minutes when I was in the UK. When I went to BYB, man, it's a whole different world because it's almost like a boxing match, just no gloves, and obviously a smaller ring, so you're in their face or they're in your face constantly. So it's just a different dynamic. It's if you're that kind of fighter that you like that type of setting, you'll thrive and love it. BKFC obviously is a more open format, the round ring, and and believe it or not, I'm a shorter heavyweight, obviously only 6 foot tall. Everyone's taller than me, but I like to fight outside. Makes no sense. I don't know why, but I'm not a big dirty boxer. I'll do a little bit of grab, like hooking. Like when I fought Mick Terrell,
Sure.
Mick moved. He moved like a middleweight, so he was somebody I was trying to grab and hold. Most heavyweights want to sit there and exchange with you, but the smart ones, no, they won't. They're gonna pop and move, get away from my power. So yeah. So as far as promotion, I was blessed to fight for all three major organizations, and you know, they all have equal, good things to each one, and they all have their downsides. They all have little things that it's just personal preference.
Sure.
So yeah.
Okay, so the next part you mentioned Genesis and out there in Colorado. Did you know Chris Camozzi like before? Like, have you been friends with
Yeah.
him for a while?
Yeah. I've known Chris for a long time. I've known him since Vegas, like
Okay.
long time, 2012, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, long time. So
Okay,
yeah,
and then what made you pick going out there to Genesis? Like, did you work with Coach Jake before, or?
I have not worked with Coach Jake before, and obviously he got great reviews from Todd, my buddy Todd Duffy, and
Sure.
Chris, and obviously they extended the invite. The other option was to go to Albuquerque, fight in Albuquerque, and
Sure.
possibly train with John and some guys out there at altitude. But I just felt like from all the explanation, there was more structure up here with Coach Jake, and he was, he'll put something together, and I'm a structure guy. I love schedule, and I like to stick to a schedule. And Coach Jake's just phenomenal, and his knowledge is insane too. So I just thought it was a better fit.
Coach Jake is such a nice guy, and he loves a good conspiracy theory, and he's just fun to talk to, and he's a wealth of knowledge. So, like, I think you made the choice because, like I said, I love everything about Genesis, and they have that stable of fighters that are just going to be
Yeah,
big deals. So, like, I think you
yeah,
made a
no,
wise choice.
absolutely.
Okay, so one of my buddies wants to know what was it like training at Crunk in Detroit?
Uh, it's hard to explain. Being the only white boy besides maybe Andy Lee who would come down, is the typical basement gym that you walk in, and the first thing out there, you got like at least 8 to 13 old black gentlemen that are like boxing, like they know what the hell they're talking about.
Sure.
And you walk in, the first thing out their mouth is white meat. You like white meat up in this motherfucker, So took me a couple years to get the respect, and like I had to earn it,
Sure.
earn it. But I was able to do that, and it's just gritty. It's gritty. It's tough. It's a lot. It's what's wild about Detroit. Detroit's probably got they've probably got 100 world champions that'll never be world champions because they'll never be found. People won't know who they are, and they'll just bad management. But there's some phenomenal. It's probably just like Philly, same thing. Just some phenomenal fighters that just don't have the right path and they don't get the opportunities. So I'm just blessed to be in a position where I was able to have the opportunities and be able to capitalize when they, the moments arose.
So do you like sports? I mean, are you a sports person? Do you only like the combat stuff? Do you like your, Detroit, like football, hockey, any of that stuff, or?
Yeah. I mean, I like football. Lions are cool, but I'm not a big Lions fan. I'm an Oakland Raider or a Las Vegas Raider now. So
okay.
I grew up in Southern California, so they're the Los Angeles Raiders.
Sure.
Then they went back to Oakland, then Vegas. So I'm a big Raiders fan, and obviously I'm a Buckeye. Graduated Ohio State. I'm a Buckeye. So Buckeye, I'm big college football. My son and I, big college football and NFL. So that's probably that. And then like my son, my 11-year-old son, Gabriel, he loves watching fights with me. He always asks me every Friday, "Hey, Dad, the fight's on. We're gonna watch the fights." So yeah, between boxing and bare knuckle and college football and NFL, that's pretty much what I do.
Okay, so it sounds like you're a fan of BKFC and fighting in general. Do you have any favorite fighters you enjoy watching, or are you just kind of like you root for your friends, or how do you go about it?
Yeah, that's pretty much the way it is. Just because it's a very small community, a very small group, so you end up knowing pretty much everybody, or everybody knows you, vice versa, and you got your friends. And I pretty much have friends in every weight class. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely, I pull for my friends. Obviously, you can admire and be impressed with certain individuals' skill sets and how they fight. But I think it falls to more or less favoritism of going, that's my boy, that's my girl. Like I want to watch them win. So that's pretty much how I do it.
It is kind of funny though when you see like, oh, your friends are fighting somebody and that person's really good that they're fighting, and everybody's like, oh, this person's gonna kill him, and you're like, no, my friend's got a good chance, and you know deep down it's gonna take a miracle to win, and maybe that miracle happens sometimes, but no matter what, I think you got to root for your friend. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, trust me, there's plenty of times when you have buddies that go in there, you're like, they took the fight, it was a strategic fight, and you're like, oh man, it's a money fight. So you're like,
yeah.
you don't want to, you want to pull for your buddy or your girl fighting, but you always like, oh man, like this is probably not going to end well. So yeah.
Okay, so a lot of guys talk about how being a professional fighter doesn't pay the bills. I know at one time you were a cop. Like, did you enjoy that? Was that do you help? Do you think it helped make you the gritty toughness that you have now, or were you always like the tough guy and like it didn't really?
I don't really consider myself a tough guy. I just, I think not being, I was military police officer, obviously got my degree. I got a lot of areas that I've been in. And at the end of the day, sure, it all probably helps you, be a dedicated, like focused individual. But the bottom line is like where I get my gritty, like tough guy side, I guess, when I fight is from just being grown up. My father was an 82nd Airborne Ranger, like
Okay.
old school, and like just made me do dumb shit when I was a kid. Like we lived up in the mountains and Tehachapi Mountains, and he'd roll logs down. Like we lived at 6,500 foot level. He'd roll logs down a ravine and be like, "All right, I'll be back tonight after work." And there might be 200 logs. I want all those logs up here stacked on the side of the house, and that's what I would do on a Saturday. Is spend my day walking down the ravine, carrying the logs up, and then he'd come home, asshole, do the same shit, just roll that right back down. Great work, roll right back down the hill. Now today well, I did that. That's organic training. That's what makes you tough.
Yeah.
So, but the reality is, silly stuff like that really probably is what ingrained, like made me be able to wrestle and get through the grit of like this kind of stuff. Like bare knuckles not for everybody. I know a lot of top tier fighters. I mean, Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold is probably one of the most skilled, talented fighters you've ever met. But you put him in a bare knuckle fight, he got cracked in the mouth, and what he say? I no mas. I don't want no
Yeah.
more. It's not worth it to me. And he was getting paid a pretty big check. So this you got to have that dog. If you don't have that dog, you're not going to go very far, much less past one fight.
Okay, so you mentioned you have the kids. Have your kids expressed any interest in becoming fighters, or like do they just enjoy watching you fight?
No, I that's a big thing for me is I don't push. Like I wrestled in school and college, and I don't push on my kids. I don't push on my sons and my daughters. Like they all express their own things right now. My son's a big football kid. Like he's 11. He does well. He does well. I'm blessed with that. But that's his focus is football. So as far as fighting, if they wanted to do it, I'd support them.
Sure.
But and who knows? In 10 years, this sport might be just like the UFC, just blown the hell up and be ginormous. So, and with anything, it goes off your coattail, your dad's name, like who you are, what
Sure.
your genetic breed is, what your background is. Like, all right, if he's part of the Burns crew, he'll probably be pretty tough. He'll get an opportunity that maybe some guys that aren't known. So if that opportunity arose, I would do it. So,
Sure.
but until then, I just support them with whatever they want to do.
Okay, so generally, my last question is: do you remember your first street fight, or the first time you punched somebody out of anger, like elementary school or an actual street fight? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I didn't fight very many times, but I did when I was a freshman at Upper Arlington High School in Ohio,
Okay.
and I got not jumped, but basically had a fight with this center, this 6'4", 300-pound monster,
Okay.
and this guy wanted to fight me, and I did not want to fight him. One, I was kickboxing, and I had kind of a name for that, and I was state runner up, and I'm like, oh, if I go smashed by this dude, that's gonna be the running joke.
Right.
And of course, this guy wanted to fight me like in this closed area where there was a chain link fence. I'm like, fuck that, buddy. I'm like, if we want to fight, we're gonna fight in the practice field. And of course, the coaches are there. Everyone, and they didn't stop it. This big dude came after me, and the last thing you want to do with a big guy is like get close to him. Because they get hold of you, you're dead.
Sure.
And for some reason, he swung. I mean, his fists were the size of my head. That's all I remember at the time. And he swung. I felt, it's everything slow motion when you fight. It flew by, and I'm like, I feel the wind on my face. And I immediately put my head in his armpit, and I'm like, okay. And he's like, thud, thud on my back. I'm like, okay, this ain't gonna last. and I just threw a punch, like kind of like tried to throw an uppercut, looking like Guile on Street Fighter. I completely missed, like, whoa. And then I recovered with a hook. And it's just one of those things that literally like a Shewmaker hook, just dink, and this kid just went. And he was a big dude, just like twirled and fell on the ground. And I just remember going, oh God, like that was like one of like, okay, I got to get out of here now, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was lucky to not get killed and just, a lot of people don't like to hear it, but my opinion is fighting has a lot to do with luck too. So
Sure.
I was the lucky one that was able to connect first and get the hell out of there. I wasn't a tough guy. I was definitely scared. I didn't want to get caught by this dude. So yeah, I remember that.
I completely agree with your luck statement because I was talking to a BKFC champion and I said, like it's hard for you to get an opponent. What's going on? And he said, I don't understand why these people won't accept the fight. He goes, anybody can get lucky. I could leave my hand down and you could catch me and you could be the champion, but like everybody keeps ducking him. So I don't know. But like you said, luck, I feel like has a big, like all it takes is one lucky shot.
Yeah, it definitely has. It plays a part. What the percentage is, who knows? But absolutely, anybody that says it doesn't, because like you just said, you could be the top tier guy, and think about it. That's why a lot of top tier guys won't fight like mid level guys that are tough, but
Sure.
they just might not have the pedigree to get to the top, but they're tough. And they're like, yeah, fuck that. Why would I fight him? Because if this dude happens to have a better night than me, he has enough grit that I might lose, and
Sure.
I don't want to lose my position and where I'm at. I'd rather fight someone of a high level. If I lose, then it's understandable. Like, yeah, you're both top tier. I don't shift. I don't move. But if I
Right.
fight somebody that's mid level and I lose, then hey, let's. And I'm not disrespecting Frank Tate. I love Frank Tate, good, great guy.
Sure.
But Frank Tate was unknown, and basically nobody knew who the fuck he was in bare knuckle until what happened. He just dog walked me and made my head look black and blue, made me basically on a knee. I look up and I go, the ref's like, hey, you want to continue? I'm like, I could feel my head swelling. I let my look at me like, fuck, no, it's not my night. Like, you can see me
Sure.
go, it's not my night. I'm good.
Yeah.
And after that, Frank got this just huge push. And it's great for Frank. Like, I like Frank; he's a good dude. But that's a great example where
Sure.
I was on the fast track to fight Joey, and one fight, DC pulls out because of injury, and I'm not thinking business wise. And I tell before Nate and Dave even told me who the opponent was, I'm like, yeah, I'll fight whoever. I'm ready to
Sure.
fight. Being a dummy, and Frank Tate's not somebody you take lightly. I mean, he got an 80 some odd inch reach. He's huge. He's a massive human being.
Right.
So we're both nice guys. Not a smart business move on my part, and I paid the price for it. But that's probably why a lot of guys, when they, and I'm not saying Frank got lucky. Frank straight up thumped my ass that night. So,
Sure.
but I'm just saying, like, mid level guys or guys that haven't got up there, they get opportunities, and if they're ready, they can seize it.
Okay, so I have no more questions for you. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to? Thank sponsors. Anything? A message before we go?
Oh, geez, yeah,
Put you on the spot.
yeah. I want to thank Kendra Lust, for supporting me and Lust.com. Obviously, Team Genesis for putting me up and taking care of me. Chris Camosi, my boy, getting me out here, and Todd obviously helping. Shoot, Tiger Life Energy. They've been with me since day one, since my bare knuckle, so they've been solid as hell.
Cool.
Warpath Clothing. Oh man, Life Medical, Sedation Inc., and West Miami Jewelry. There you go. I got them all. So
Awesome.
cool.
I will be sure to include a link to your Instagram and stuff too. So if people want to follow you and check out your sponsors, they can do that too. So.
Right on. Cool. Appreciate it.
Okay, well, you look like you're in shape. You're looking good, and I think this fight's going to be great. So, I can't wait to see it, and hopefully we see you back sooner than a couple years. So,
Right. Appreciate it.
thanks for your time, sir.
All right, brother.